I'm dreading this, but I'm excited. So I was just coming up to my loft to work in my newly organized and cleaned loft space, and I was hanging some stuff up so I could start to steam them and photograph them. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun? I just got a whole load of inventory. Wouldn't it be fun if I set a challenge and timed myself on how long it will take me to process 100 items? And there's going to be some little kickers with this. So it's 100 mostly clothing items. It means I'm going to have to steam, measure, photograph. And then I'm going to list on eBay, cross list to Poshmark, and put away an inventory. I've never timed myself doing this. If I had to guess, this is going to take me 3 days. But the kicker is I'm only allowing myself to work 8-hour shifts like I would if I were going to an entry-level job where I go in for an 8-hour shift. I get 2 15-minute breaks, an hour lunch break, and call it a day. So I'm excited about this. It's going to be really hard not to have distractions, but my phone will be on airplane mode. When I'm listing, I'm not sure how I'm not going to be distracted because I do have to check things like comps, but we'll figure it out. And I will check in with you along the way. I'm just like overwhelmed because I know this is going to be multiple days, but I'm going to feel so good when it's done. It is 10:48 right now. And I do have a timer that's going to help keep me on track. So yeah, let's get started. So first and foremost, my time with how I process things can vary depending on if I use a mannequin more or less. And I don't think this should be a good example to compare to you, but I do think that timing yourself doing a large quantity of items can really give you a realistic perspective of what you're capable of. And so this is just me sharing my journey, but you should definitely try it for yourself. Okay, so in the first 30 minutes, I was able to steam 28 items. There are 3 items over here that I just found some faint stains that I'm gonna stain treat later. So that's not bad, basically a minute steaming per item. Some take longer than others, but time to photograph. Also, while I'm working right here, I did just want to give a big thank you to a few people who bought me coffees on my YouTube page. Technically, it's just buying Luna some treats. So I wanted to give you guys a mention. This is a big thank you to Laura, Mark, Sheila, Heather, Sarah, Michelle, someone by the name of someone, Jean, and Eric. We really appreciate it. Okay, so it's been another 30 minutes. I just counted. I photographed 13 items in that somewhat 30 minutes. But obviously the time talking also is taken away from it. So, some things need to be lint rolled, some don't. But I'm hoping that I can finish this rack soon. That'll be 28 items photographed. Is that right? I don't know if my math is right. Anyways, and then I'll start doing some listing and cross listing just to get a break. Also, my house has a couple windows that at a certain point of the day, it starts putting in light right where my photo area is. And it kind of, yeah. So actually, now that I say that, I should probably keep photographing and maybe hang some more up. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably steam photograph, all that stuff until I start noticing the light issue. And then that's when I'll start listing. Because usually that's around like 3 or 4-ish. I don't know what time it is. Oh gosh, we've got a long ways to go. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting stuff done. So while I did want to kind of schedule myself 8-hour shifts as if I were working at a regular job, I did just really want to kind of have some balance with this challenge. So I could probably try to see how much I could do in a 24-hour period and just go really hard. But I don't think that's realistic from a long-term perspective to really understand what I'm capable of. So this worked out best for me. Okay, it's 12:51. I have a bag here of steamed, measured, photographed. I think it's 28 items. And I just started steaming another batch. So yeah, we'll see how much. I'm actually surprised. This is only 2 hours of working so far. And so it'll be interesting to check in at the 4-hour mark. But for right now, I am going to take a 15-minute break. And I am actually taking a break, so I won't be filming that. But I'm going to go check my phone, check on the dog, get some water, maybe a quick snack, and then I'll come back up here. So I'm back after a glorious break. And the other thing to note is I know plenty of resellers who choose not to steam, or maybe they wash all their items. I do wash some of mine, but that wasn't really included in this experiment. So I definitely think it depends on what you work with, but measurements doesn't take me that long. So I highly recommend adding those if you can. I just take a photo of it and it's pretty quick. All right, so we are 3 hours in. No, but I guess actually it's 45 minutes because I took 15-minute break, and then we'll be at the 4-hour mark. So we are at 3 hours and 15 minutes, 3 hours working on the 15-minute break. So this is what I have remaining to photograph. So I hopefully will be able to do that in 45 minutes, and then I'll have, I think I counted, it's basically going to be like 57 or 58 items that I will have steamed, measured, photographed in 4 hours, which I don't think that's bad. And then we'll see what I can get listed in the last 4 hours. So anyways, got to finish this part up. If someone asked me what one item I could not live without as a reseller, I would say it's lighting. I know there are plenty of people that don't have lighting and use natural light for their photos, but for me, when I was part-time, I really only had the weekend days when I could do that because I would get home so late where it wasn't light enough. And it just makes it so much easier to just work with what day and what your schedule is like and not worry about the natural daylight. So I do have these linked. I've had them for 3 years and they work for me. Okay, 25 minutes left, but this phone that I rarely use, only when I've got to film myself, is at 5%. So I won't be able to finish this filming. So I'm going to use this, what I'm filming with right now, this phone to finish as much as I can. I just counted, there's 12 more items. I think I can do that in 25 minutes. So fingers crossed. Look at the time. Look at the rack. That's all the stuff I steamed, measured, and photographed in under 4 hours. It was 3 hours and 45 minutes working and 1 15-minute break. That's a pile of stuff that I need to stain treat. So it is lunchtime. Just in case we need a time check, 2:54, same day. Yay! What are you doing, boo? You just hanging out outside? You want a piece of chicken? Okay, you gotta sit down. Okay. All right, my timer just went off for lunch. It is 3:57. I honestly don't even remember what time I started, but I just had to run up to get the tripod. So I'm gonna set another timer. So the lunch break, I'm not considering part of the 8 hours. So I just took an hour, watched a little YouTube, checked on eBay and Poshmark, checked my email, and checked a recent video on YouTube to see how it was doing. Anyways, so it was a good break. It kind of reminds me of, I do have a timer already reset. But again, I mentioned I would check in on things. It kind of reminds me of when I used to work at really high paced morning coffee shops in college. I did that for, 8 or 9 years. And yes, I was in college forever. So, it reminds me of that because I think like you get there, you're kind of out of it. You just have to go because the doors are going to open at a certain point. And then the doors open and it's just like all of a sudden just like morning rush begins. And it's just nonstop until your lunch break. You take your lunch break and you're just like in a daze and you're just like eating quickly because you have to go back and help after your break is over. And you're like scarfing down food, you're checking your phone, and then it's like you go back out and it's just the chaos continues. It usually at that, like if you went in at like 4 or 4:30 in the morning, you usually like around 11 would start to feel like 10:30, 11, you would start to feel like things are winding down. And that's when you start cleaning up after the morning rush. Anyways, most of those years I was managing coffee shops. I think 7 of the years I was a manager. So I could usually escape after the morning rush and go and like do computer work, and because there was a lot of that I had to do. But yeah, that's what it feels like today, which is not a bad thing. Like, I almost feel like, would it be better to just do 2 8-hour, no distraction days each week, and then take more time off and like have more time off? This is actually really interesting to me. It will be interesting to see doing it a few days, and how much I get done. But on that note, I'm already taking up my time to list. So I have transferred. So this phone I don't typically photograph with. It's just an extra phone. It doesn't take the best photos, but it works for the times that I need to do some sort of filming. So I don't think it would be that interesting to show myself on a computer sped up. So this is the part that I just don't think would be worthwhile to film. And I usually use my phone and my computer to list. So right now I'm going to list on eBay. And what I'm going to do with the 55 or 58 items is I'm going to create listings on eBay by finding similar listings of mine. So it might be the same brand and style. It might just be the same style, whatever it is, create those listings. So they're drafts. And then once I create all those drafts, I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to start editing the drafts to make the listings go live. We will see what I can get accomplished. I have 4 hours and 1 15-minute break left. So, I don't know what to expect. I've never really timed myself doing this much. And I do feel like my only thing of being on the phone and the computer is to not get tempted to check websites, like check anything to get distracted. And that's going to be really hard. I'm not sure how to prevent that other than just trying to have good self-discipline. So I will check in an hour to let you know how I'm doing. Basically just under an hour when this goes off. So 55-ish minutes, to let you know how I'm doing, what progress I've made, and we'll go from there. All right, so another hour passed. I just updated. This is what I have so far. I have 38 drafts, so I'm still working on creating drafts. So I probably have another 20 to go, and then I'll start actually editing these listings and making them go live. All right, so almost a little over 30 minutes left until my break. And I just got all the drafts done. So there are 57 drafts, but that's because there were 2 identical items that I will just list as a multi-quantity item. So there were 58 items. There's only 57 drafts. So I am going to start listing. These are all drafted off of my other listings. So there are a lot of similarities. So changing brands, changing sizes, changing some details. Basically, I just go through and just make edits, and then I'll start listing. So I have a feeling, if I had to guess, so I've got 2.5 hours left to work for the 8 hours today. I am going to guess right now that I can get 30 done in that amount of time. The problem is some of these things will require a little bit of research, and the research is really where the time is spent. So most of the stuff I can kind of just guesstimate because I've sold similar items. But there are a few that I'm going to have to do a little research. So we'll see. But if I could get 30 listed in that 2.5 hours and the 15-minute break in that 2.5 hours, I don't think that's bad. I'll have plenty left over for tomorrow to just go ahead and list. And I think it's definitely looking like it's still going to be about 3 full days to process everything, get everything done, cross-listed, cross-listed, and then put in inventory. But if I'm lucky, it'll be more like 2.5 days, which will be the equivalent of about 20 full hours of uninterrupted work. So we'll see, just guessing along the way. But time to get to listing. Also, so here's the number of drafts, and then also just as a starting point, some things will sell in the next few days, so I will just have to subtract that, but my current active listings is $11.94, so hopefully I get up to $12.94, subtracting anything sold, which I'll update you guys at the end with that, but this is the starting point. So I'm winding down my first day of this kind of extreme challenge. And this may not seem very extreme for many people watching, but it is incredibly hard not to get distracted through the day when you're working from home, whether it be things on your phone calls, things around your house, things outside of the house. So this was really a tough day for me to stay focused, but I really feel like the challenge helped me just stay on point with the timers and the timeline. But I do like to end my days outside, which is where I'm finishing up. All right, I only have a couple minutes left, but I'm done. And technically, I went over a little bit because I had to deal with camera stuff and whatever. Anyways, I'm at 22 drafts. So I'll put on the screen how many I listed. But I know I photographed 57 items. One of them was a duplicate, so it was 58 items in total today. And my active count is now 1228. So, yeah. I almost forgot to show proof. It's a couple minutes late, but 8 p.m., same day. So one of the perks of this challenge is I wasn't going to work past the 8 hours, and so it really allowed me to enjoy the rest of the evening. I decided to cook a meal outside, and this is where I mentioned the sponsor of today's video, which is Green Chef. Green Chef has been supporting this channel this year, and it is definitely a game changer for me. I love the food and I love the boxes. So if you don't know what Green Chef is, it is a CCOF certified organic company, and they have options for every lifestyle. So you can choose from keto and paleo, or vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. So tonight I decided to cook my favorite Green Chef meal out on the deck using my camp stove because it was just a beautiful summer night. So a few things to point out about Green Chef. They now offer more variety and flexibility than ever before with double the choices. So you can choose from all 24 recipes weekly with an option to mix and match meals from different preferences. So you can order vegan one day and keto the next. Green Chef also supports kind of a healthy lifestyle, which is what I love. With pre-portioned, easy to follow recipes delivered right to your door, it's never really been easier to hit your wellness goals. So some of my favorite Green Chef recipes is the one I'm cooking right now, which I'll show you here in a second what it looks like, but it is the sesame ginger bavette steak and shrimp. It is absolutely divine. It's like a gourmet meal at home. And considering I don't have a lot of restaurants near me, this is really a big treat for me to have kind of a fancy meal. But I also, one of my other favorite meals is the chicken souvlaki. It's a Greek meal. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I absolutely love that one as well. I mean, I love all the meals, but yeah. So if you want to try Green Chef, you can use my code, which is COMMONTAGS 135 to get $135 off plus free shipping on your first box. So you can go to greenchef.com for more details. And I'm just going to finish enjoying my dinner. But thank you, Green Chef, so much for continuing to support this channel. It really is such a treat for me to have these delicious meals. After I got done eating dinner, I noticed that I had some elk nearby across the street. So I wanted to show you some of our wild elk. Good morning. It is day 2 of my extreme processing 100 items challenge. I have my green smoothie, I have an iced tea, and I'm actually going to start this day on the computer for a couple of reasons, but it is 9 a.m. on Monday, and I'm setting my timer right now on this phone. So here we go. Did I just set 2 hours? I did. I meant, right, 2 hours. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to work for 2 hours. I have a Zoom meeting at 11 a.m. So that's going to be part of my break. And I'm also going to take a shorter lunch break, only a half hour instead of an hour today. So if I'm starting at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I should be done by 6:15 if I'm doing my math correctly, because my first break and half of my lunch will be part of this meeting. So, and then there's an extra 15 minutes. Anyways, I'm rambling. I need to get to work. So I've got 22 drafts left over from Saturday. And once I finish these in this first 2 hours, I'm going to start cross-listing to Poshmark. And then after my meeting, I'm going to go upstairs, finish taking photos of the other 42 items, steam them, photograph, and measure. And then with any remaining time in my 8 hours today, I'm going to come back to listing and cross-listing. So I definitely don't think I'm going to get everything done today, but we'll see, and I'll check in. Time to get to work. So one of my favorite things to do when I start working during the day, whether it's kind of scheduling a shift like this or just a normal work day, is enjoying my coffee, getting some work done, enjoying the view in the morning. And so I was happy that I had some leftover listings or drafts from the day before that I could just kind of chill out for these first 2 hours, which was really relaxing. Okay, so it is currently 10:52 and I'm at 0 drafts. So it took me just under 2 hours to list the 22 drafts. I did have to look up a few. And let's see where the active is. I've had some stuff that I've sold. So we're at 12:43. So in essentially 10 hours, I measured, steamed, photographed, listed on eBay 58 items. I still need to cross-list them to Poshmark, and I still need to put them in inventory, and I still have 42 more items to go. Okay, so my meeting just ended. It's just after 12. So I am going to go upstairs. I'm gonna steam, measure, and photograph the last, is it 38? 42. 42 and 58 is 100, right? 42 items. The good thing is that I did stop at a thrift store yesterday and bought some fun stuff. So about half of it is stuff that I actually sourced and I'm excited to photograph. So on that note, it's time to go take photos. So today is Monday, and the first day I started this challenge was in a Saturday, but I did have plans on Sunday out of town for personal reasons, and I knew I was going to be able to stop by a thrift store for a couple hours just for fun. So this isn't consecutive day challenge, but again, everything is timed. So here I am just really trying to get the last of the photos done. All right, it is just about 2 o'clock and it is my lunch break. So because I had that meeting, that's adding 15 minutes to my day, my 9-hour total day. And I'm gonna cut my lunch to a half hour. I just counted. So I just steamed 29 items? Steamed 29 items and photographed 20. I think that's right, in 2 hours. So I've got 9 here that are already steamed that I just need to photograph. And I just pulled out some more inventory to get me to the 100 mark. So I'm gonna go eat and check on the dog, and then I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna finish the steaming and photographs, and I still have 4 more hours of working. So hopefully this part will only maybe take me another couple hours maximum, and then I'll have a couple hours to continue listing. And then we'll move on to day 3, and it'll be interesting to see how much of day 3 it will take me, because at that point it will be mostly finishing some listing, cross-listing everything, which is pretty quick with Prime Lister for me, and then putting things in inventory. So I think it's definitely gonna be at least another 4 hours after today, probably no more than another 8 hours. So it'll be somewhere between 20 to 24 hours total working to process these 100 items, which I kind of predicted that in the beginning. So I'm pretty much on point. But anyways, I'm starving. So I'll check back with you at 2:30. And yeah. What are you doing, Boo? Is the shade leaving you? Do you want to go out on the other side of the house where there's more shade? I know, my sweet girl. I know. All right, it's 2:30. I just chowed down. I'm going to go back upstairs and I'm going to finish steaming and photographing, and I will check in with you. Hopefully in a couple hours to say that I'm done with that. And then the hard part will be over, and I'll have a couple more hours left to work today on the computer. And then tomorrow I'll finish the computer work and finish inventory. So yeah. I have 45 minutes left until my break. I have 5 items left to photograph. And I'm over it. Okay, the worst is over. And I've got 15 minutes left until my break. So that took me 1 hour and 45 minutes. Here are my piles over here. So different piles for different things. But that is 100 items and a few things that need to be donated due to condition. Here is my emptiness. I still have a little bit in my security pile. But that is it. My least favorite part is over. So I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to take my break a little early and then come back and work for a couple hours. So yeah, I should be able to get about 20 more listings done today, which means I'll have done around a little over 40 today, the 22 from this morning and then whatever I can do this afternoon. So tomorrow I'll have to finish up my listings, do the cross listings, and then put everything in inventory. So, which I think is totally possible. Yeah. Boo, what have you been doing today? Did you see a raccoon and now it's up in a tree? Did you see you were barking at the raccoon and you made me come down to come get you so that you didn't get in a raccoon fight? So I'm pretty sure the raccoon's up. Well, I know for a fact because I watched it climb up into one of these trees. So that was a distraction. Okay, it is the end of day 2. And I went over by 30 minutes only because I had a rabid raccoon on my property. And I was working with a neighbor to deal with that issue. So if you remember me in the beginning saying there's 2 main distractions I deal with often, it's my dog and wildlife. Both of those have occurred. Usually my dog is pretty quick. She just needs something really quick and I can get back to work. Wild animal situation can sometimes be hours. This situation, fortunately, I was working with a neighbor to deal with it. But it did stall me a bit. So I gave myself an extra 30 minutes. Now, what I did in that 30 minutes was I got all of the items I photographed today. I got them drafted and then I got 2 listed. But if you can see the time right now, it's 6:47. So I basically gave myself an extra half hour to deal with the fact that I was outside for approximately that amount of time. So anyways, on that note, I'm tired. I got a lot done. I got 42 items photographed. I got 42 items. Actually, I got 1 extra. So I think I photographed 1 extra item. So I already listed 2 items. I have 41 drafts here. So that would be a total of 43 from today. That I steamed, measured, and photographed. And then I listed, before everything started today, I listed the remaining drafts I had from yesterday, which I think was around 22 items. So while I didn't list much from tonight, I did list some this morning. So yeah, that's it for today. I'll check in with you in the morning when I'm ready to work. All right, day 3. 7 o'clock. I already started my timer until a break. I am going to sit here and I'm going to list 42 items that I photographed yesterday. I think I already listed 2 of them. So I have 40 items to list. I'm guessing that will take me just about 3 hours. And I do have one thing that's going to interrupt my workday, which is I have to film a small haul, and that's part of the stuff that I photographed. So before I put it in inventory, I have to do a short video. So I'm guessing that will probably throw in an extra hour that I'll have to just remove. But yeah, I'm gonna get to work. I have some iced tea here, and let's see how fast I can do this remaining stuff today. So one thing I tried to do these last 3 days is not go any faster than I thought was realistic. I wasn't trying to rush anything. I know things are sped up like right here, so it looks like I'm going fast, but in all honesty, I was trying to get a true measurement of on a realistic day, how quickly could I do this stuff? So yeah, I think I was pretty successful with that. 0 drafts, right in the nick of time. So 6 minutes before lunchtime. So I started this morning at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is the 4-hour mark. So I'm gonna take a break, grab a snack. I do need to get ready and film a thrift haul of some of the stuff that needs to go into inventory. So I might be able to get it all done in an hour. I might not be able to, but when I come back, I will check in, let you know what time it is. And then at that point, I will have 4 more working hours to cross-list everything to Poshmark, 100 items, and put things in inventory, 100 items. We'll see. That's gonna be tough, but I've never timed it. So hopefully it doesn't carry over into a day 4, but we'll see. All right, so I just filmed my haul. This is stuff that is part of the stuff that needs to go to inventory. So I just got ready, put on a little makeup, curled the hair a little bit, and filmed. I was cooking some pasta at the same time. So I'm actually gonna have a quick bite, go 15 minutes over today on my lunch break and just eat. And then I'm going to get to cross-listing because that's next step. We'll see how long it takes for me to cross-list 100 items to Poshmark. All right, I just chowed down some food. It is 13 minutes late for me, but that's okay. I got a whole video filmed on my lunch break. Anyways, I'm at $55.90 on Poshmark as the total number. So we are going to, at some point today, hopefully get that up to 5690, unless anything sells while I'm listing. No, actually it'll stay there. Yeah, so 5690. That's where we need to get. Time to cross list. All right, we started at $55.90. We're now at $56.90. I started at, what time did I start? Oh geez. What time did I start? Was it 12:15? I think it was 12:15. 1:15, 2:15. I think it was 12:15. I will put on the screen if I'm correct. So that means I still have 20 minutes left of my 2 hours working. So cross-listing 100 items from eBay to Poshmark took me an hour and 40 minutes. So that is exactly 1 minute per item to cross-list. That's kind of cool to know. Yeah. Okay, time to take a break and then go work on inventory. Okay, so I just brought everything out here, had to get a thumbnail, and it is 2:18, so I've got 2 more hours to work, and the goal is to get everything on my spreadsheet and into bins with the letters on the outside, and I'm not sure if I can do that in 2 hours, but we're gonna try, so let's go. So inventory has always been my pile of shame. I just really feel like it's the place that once I've gotten everything listed, I just kind of let things pile up and I don't get them in my clear bins on my spreadsheet, and it makes things really hard for shipping. So I'm trying to stay on top of inventory, even though it's one of my least favorite things. Unbelievable how fast that is. 3:09. So an hour and 10 minutes before my 2-hour mark. And just so you can see the day, in case there's any question, same day. So everything is in inventory. There are my empty bags. And I am going to take this computer in and I am going to give you a recap inside after I've cooled off a little bit and just tell you my thoughts. Because I have a lot of them now. Yeah, so let's go inside. All right, it's the next day. I finished that project and I really needed to get some shipping done. So I decided to just jot down some notes, some takeaways from this, and kind of compile my thoughts and then check in with you today. So I've got some notes. I'm just gonna kind of go through this and end this video with just my takeaways and how is this going to change anything for me and what did I learn? So just to start off with some numbers, it took me 22 hours and 50 minutes total to do the steaming, measuring, photographing, listing, cross-listing, and putting away in inventory. 2 things that didn't include was shipping time and thrifting time. Now, a lot of this stuff that was in this challenge was actually from a men's ThredUp box, like 65 items or something like that out of the 100. So I actually didn't have any thrifting time with that. But on an average typical week, it would have taken time for me to get those 100 items. And for me, if it was a really normal week, and if I just decided to go sit at the bins for 6 hours and drive approximately two hours each way, in 10 hours, I could approximately get 100 items of similar quality. That's bread and butter, a few designer pieces, and overall just kind of an average selling price of $25 to $35. And that's kind of my typical average, right around that $30 mark. So with that, also adding some shipping. So I live 30 minutes from our post office. We do not have postal pickup. So I do have to take my packages. Although I don't ship out 100 items on every day, that's not a common occurrence for me. I have done approximately 100 items plus when I run my 2 annual sales. And it's safe to say, usually I can get everything done in about 8 hours. And that can vary for person to person. So you may not want to pre-package items in clear plastic bags. I do that for 2 reasons. I've had damaged items sent to my house that were just thrown in poly mailer. And so I do like an extra layer of protection. I also sometimes sell to people on YouTube. So I like to just include just a little tiny thank you note and just have it carefully folded, etc. So for me, that time is really well spent. I could probably just put it in a poly mailer and get it done in half the amount of time. But for me, I'm comfortable with this process. So about 8 hours for shipping 100 items and about 10 hours of thrifting. Again, I've got 4 hours driving, and that is included in work time for me. So in total, it's right around that 40 hours a week. Let me think about on that. To be more specific, I think it's 40 hours and 50 minutes if we really want to get, but each week is slightly different. I mean, some items take me longer than others. So this is just really just kind of a baseline to just have an understanding of what I'm capable of. Also, I'm probably talking quick because I have so much excitement over just learning this. So steaming, measuring, and photographing 100 items took me approximately 8 hours. The most time-consuming thing I do is drafting and listing. So that actually took me 12 hours total to do the 100 items. Cross-listing only took me, I think it was an hour and 40 minutes, so approximately 2 hours. And putting away into inventory took me basically, I think that was only an hour and 20 minutes or something. It was even less than I expected. And that's adding on to my spreadsheet. Now, my spreadsheet is very simple, but it just works for me. I can always find my items. So I was just really surprised at kind of just having a benchmark on how long it takes me to do certain things. One thing to note is in my 22 hours and 50 minutes, was that what it was? Yes. There was an hour and 30 minutes total of paid breaks. And why I'm not removing that is if I had an employee or if I were really actually working a job, I would have a couple 15-minute breaks that are paid time. At least that's how it is in California. So you don't get paid for your lunch breaks here, but you do get paid for a couple breaks, smaller breaks in the day. So I think if you're going to hire an employee, which that's not my business model, to find a baseline of what you're capable of doing, including that break time built in. And then also I would probably just bring it down a notch. So although I think I'm very efficient, it's also my business. I'm passionate about it. And I really try to be distraction free. Employees, if you have them, they're probably going to be a little less passionate, and it's a hard job to just do that monotonous, same thing every day. So they may only be able to do 75% of what I'm able to do in that same time frame, if that makes sense. I'm not looking to have an employee, but it is kind of a helpful idea to know what you're capable of doing and then kind of have something more reasonable set for someone else. So one thing people have asked me over the years of being on YouTube is, what do I make per hour? Now, my jobs before this, I wasn't paid hourly. It was just a salary and I worked a bunch, 60, 70 hours a week at those jobs. So I haven't been in an hourly wage mindset in a very long time, but I understand the curiosity. So I did want to do a little breakdown, and I did want to use kind of an average sale price of $30, which is my current average sale price. And my average cost of goods is about $5 per item. So, and I wanted to take that. I added about $1 per item for gas and supplies because I do have to drive a distance to buy stuff. So overall, it's $18 net before taxes per item. It's 2.56 items per hour from start to finish. And that is including the thrifting and the shipping time as an estimate for this, which doesn't sound like that much. But again, if it's $18 per item, in a sense, that basically leaves me with, that leaves me with $46.08 per hour before taxes. Now, if you're self-employed and you're paying self-employed taxes, it is higher typically. Again, I'm not a tax professional. Each state is different. Just find a CPA in your area and hopefully they can help figure that out. But for me, I usually just from an easy mindset, cut everything in half. And that takes out taxes, 401k, and health insurance for me. So once I remove about half, it leaves me with about $23 per hour that I'm paid out to live on if I'm this efficient. Now, keep in mind, if I did the same amount of work in double the amount of time, so let's say instead of the approximately 41 hours to do these 100 items, let's say it actually took me 80 because I was distracted. I was getting on Instagram. I was doing stuff around my house, which is unfortunately, I think what a lot of us do. We get distracted. That would actually bring down my pay to $11.50 per hour after taxes, which is kind of in line with minimum wage here in California. I don't know the current minimum wage in California. I think it's like 16 something. But when you remove taxes off of minimum wage, it basically leaves you with that. So by being efficient with my time, I'm making more money per hour. And you can spend more time working, but for me, I'm really trying to figure out how to have work-life balance, how to juggle YouTube, how to juggle real estate, and still be a reseller and make sales. So if you are faster than me, that is awesome. I'm excited for you. If you are slower than me, don't stress. I mean, I've been doing this trying to make improvements for 4 years. Did I just hit 4-year anniversary? And it takes time and it takes tinkering and it takes different systems and setups, and some things you're comfortable spending time on and some things you're not. So why did I do 100 items versus 10 items and just multiply the 10 times 10? I think that you start to feel some lag at times when you do 100 items. And if I were just a reseller, I didn't have anything else going on, 100 items a week listing would be a minimum for me. Because I'm not close to thrifting, I can't thrift that much. And so I would want that as kind of a baseline at a very minimum, if not more. So it's a really good idea or gauge to understand how do you feel after actually doing 100 items without distractions. And I think it gave me a really good baseline. So I will leave you with this. My biggest takeaway with this is structure gives me freedom. And while structure and self-discipline is incredibly hard for all of us, and it's actually a little easier if you're filming yourself and being held accountable because you've got to share it on YouTube, you can do a sped up version on your own phone and share it to your Instagram. I mean, a lot of those hour working was a 20-minute clip or a 20-second clip that you could share on Instagram each day just to show yourself actually working and holding yourself accountable. You could just set a goal for 2 hours each day, not distracted, and you will probably see that that will make a huge improvement in your business. So I think that while part of the fun of being self-employed is you do have flexibility and freedom, if you aren't structured with your time, it can feel like you're always working and you never have any time off. And if you just have a little of that self-discipline and set some goals, whether it's 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, or even 8 hours a day, where you really try to stay like distraction free and kind of give yourself a full work shift, you will have more time off to enjoy and still be productive with your time. And I don't know, that's very appealing for me. So I don't think I'm going to be doing 8-hour shifts per se on just reselling because I am juggling other things. But I would like to see myself, 5 days a week doing 4 hours, not distracted. And I think that that's something that's reasonable. And the timer thing really helps me. Having just an understanding of for the next 4 hours, I'm just going to work and then I'll get a break and I'll get to work on other stuff. I don't know. It was just really impactful for me and I am so happy I did it. So If you have done anything like this, let me know down below what you took away from your experience. If you end up doing this later on, come back, let me know in the comments if you were surprised by anything. And if you don't think you could do anything like this, that's totally okay. Again, I think it's taken me 4 years to do something like this and really track how long it takes me. But $23 an hour after taxes is not terrible for having the freedom and flexibility of being self-employed. And because I do have YouTube and real estate that I'm also working on, again, I do work a lot, but if I can just be more efficient with my time, I think I'll be a lot more productive and happy. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Green Chef, for sponsoring this video. Please hit a thumbs up. This took me so much time to kind of put everything together and hopefully share it in an understood way. And I was really excited to do this video. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.